In this video, I will show you how to simplify complicated exponential expressions like this one using the properties of exponents. Couple rules. One rule is you can't leave anything with a negative exponent. So say if I have m to the negative 2/3 power, I can't leave it like that. I have to move it to the other side of the invisible fraction line. So this would be like 1 over m to the 2/3 power. But that brings me to the second rule. You're not allowed to have fractional exponents in the denominator. So there's a way to fix this, but and I have showed how to do that in the last 3 videos. So if it comes up on this problem, I will show you how to fix this. But these are 2 things you can't have. No negative exponents and no fractional exponents in the denominator. Alright, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. So let's start with the numerator. I don't see any variables that are the same in the numerator. So I can get outside of the parentheses and get ready to apply this power to each of these things. Now remember, when you raise a power to a power, you multiply. So I am going to have m to the negative 5/4 power. Okay, now when I look at these 2 numbers and I'm multiplying, so I have negative 5/3 times 3/4. What I'm thinking is these 3's are going to cancel out. So that's just going to leave me with negative 5/4. Now, if you did not want to be that slick about it, you could just multiply and get negative 15/12. And then you could reduce. Both of these are divisible by 3. And then that's going to give you negative 5/4. I think my way is better, but to each her own. Okay, oh look, it's you have a chance to practice the new skill I taught you. Can you do 5/3 times 3/4 in one step? I hope you can. I bet you can. This is going to give me p to the 5/4 power. Again, 5/3 times 3/4. The 3's cancel out. That's 5/4. If you have some a longer other way to do it, just don't tell me about it. Finally, this last one, if I multiply these, that's going to be q to the negative 9/4 power. No special shortcut there. So that's it for the numerator. What about the denominator? Well, I have m times m squared, so I know that it's going to be m to the 3rd power. Now how about the p's? Well, looking at the p's, we've got p squared and p to the 1/2 power. When you multiply those, you need to add the exponents. So I need to do 2 plus 1/2. I need like denominators, so this is really going to be 4/2 plus 1/2, so that's going to be 5/2. So that is going to be p to the 5/2 power. And how about the q's? Well, anything to the 0 power is 1. So basically I can just cross that out and ignore it. So that just leaves me with q squared. So I'm just going to bring that down. So I've got q squared. So now I've done the numerator and I've done the denominator. Once you've done that, it's time to divide. Now whenever you divide, you must subtract the exponents. So looking at the m's, let me decide where I'm going to put this afterwards. I guess I'm going to have to put it up here at the top. So I'll do my subtracting down here. Looking at the m's, I have negative 5 over 4, and I need to do minus 3. So I'll say minus 3 over 1. Let's turn these both into 4s. Okay, it's almost very silly for a second there. I can just multiply by 4. So this will be negative 5 over 4 minus 12 over 4. So that's going to be negative 17 over 4. Okay, so that's what I'm going to get from the m. So I will have m to the negative 17 fourths power. Okay, let me erase this because I'll probably need the space. Okay, now I'm looking at the p's. So look at those powers. So I need to do 5 fourths minus 5 halves. Let's make like denominators real quick. Alright, so that's going to be 5 fourths minus 10 fourths. So that's going to be minus 5 fourths. Okay, so that's the p's. So I have p to the negative 5 fourths. Scratch paper, give me a scratch. Alright, now I need to do the same thing with the q's. So I need to do negative 9 fourths minus 2 over 1. So I will make these like denominators like so. So that's negative 9 fourths minus 8 fourths. So that's negative 17 fourths. That's what we had for the m. Okay, so I have q to the negative 17 fourths. Okay, all of these are bad for us because we have all of these fractions with negative exponents. They will all drop down to the denominator, and then I will have fractional exponents in the denominator, and that's a no. That's going to be a no for me, dog. So we need to fix that in some kind of way. Here's how you fix it. Start with the negative 17 over 4. And I can use this for the m and the q. What I need to do is I need to find a whole number that I can add to this that will give me a positive result. Now I have a denominator of 4. Now I need this to be a whole number. For example, if I do 4 over 4, that's a whole number, that's 1. But negative 17 plus 4 is still a negative. So I need to go bigger. Okay, what if I do 8 over 4? Because that's 2. Nope, that's still going to be negative. What if I do 12 over 4? Because that's 3. Still negative. What if I do 16 over 4? Because that has a value of 4. Oh, almost. That would be negative 1. Still negative. It's no good. Alright. But finally, what if I do 20 over 4? Because that's 5. Well, that's going to give me a positive. That's the first one that gives me a positive. So that's going to be 3 over 4. Once I find one that works, I'm going to subtract it from both sides and move it over there. So that'll give me negative 17 over 4 is equal to 3 over 4 minus 20 over 4. Okay, and that's the same thing as this. Negative 17 over 4 is equal to 3 over 4 minus 5. Remember? Okay, so we can use this fact to rewrite the m and the q because they both involve negative 17 over 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split them apart into two variables using these two exponents. So I will have m to the 3 over 4, and I'll have m to the negative 5. Now I'm going to have to leave space for a double p because I'm going to have to do the same thing. But for right now, in fact, let me just erase all this for a second. So I'm leaving space for the p, but meanwhile the q, I'm going to split it up in exactly the same way, same two exponents. So I can split this up as q to the 3/4 power times q to the negative 5 power. It's the exact same thing. Alright, and you can convince yourself that if for example, if I multiply these m's together, I'd have to add these exponents, and guess what they would add up to? They would add up to negative 17/4, which you can see happening right here. Same thing with the q's. So we haven't changed anything, but the reason why we did it is because now the fraction is positive. So it would not drop down to the denominator and become a problem for us. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with the p's. Okay, so for the p's, I have negative 5/4. I need to add a whole number that will give me a positive result. I see the denominator 4, so I definitely have to go for that. What about 4 over 4? That's a whole number. It's 1. But that's still negative, so that's a no. Okay, what about 8 over 4? Because that's 2. Well, that'll work. That'll give me 3 over 4. Alright, once I find one that works, I subtract it from both sides and move it over there. So that's going to give me negative 5 over 4 is equal to 3 over 4 minus 8 over 4. Okay, kabam! Oh yeah, one more thing. So this is the same thing as negative 5 over 4 is equal to 3 over 4 minus 2. Right? 8 over 4 is 2. So this is the fact that we will use to rewrite the p expression. Trying to get it all on the screen. Okay, so I can rewrite the p by splitting it apart using these two exponents. So I can write p to the negative 5 over 4 power as p to the 3/4 power times p to the negative 2 power. Okay, and it works similarly to the way the m's and the q's did. I haven't really changed anything. Okay, now we are ready for the final answer. There's an invisible fraction line right here. Anything with a negative exponent is going to drop down to the other side of the fraction, drop down to the denominator. Luckily, each of these things are integers, no fractions. So when they drop down, I will not have any fractional exponents in the denominator. Alright, and that's the thing that we had to avoid. So that's why the final answer will be m to the 3/4 power, p to the 3/4 power, q to the 3/4 power, all over m to the 5th power, p squared, q to the 5th power. Alright, and that is the best we can do with this mess. Alright, that was problem number 20. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and click here in the red apple to watch the next video. Click in the green apple to subscribe, or click the yellow apple for the full playlist.